Okay, and we are now recording. And here we are. Today I have with me Ezra, also known as Pivy Does It All. And
Um,
I'm really happy to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us everything there is to know about you.
Everything there is to know about me. So I am a crocheter, a knitter, a painter, a drawer, a decoupager. I do a lot of things. Um some say I do it all.
We have seen some of your really beautiful makeup and costume work as well.
Yes, thank you.
So I mean, what day was it? It was recently when you came up on my panel, and you looked like Veronica Lake, and I thought it was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I had done full drag that day and didn't know where the day was going to take me, and it took me into full drag for the first time since I've been openly trans. So that's an aspect about me, is that I'm a trans man, and but one of the lower tier, lower priority things in my mind. Um, Because if you look at my house, it's just a craft explosion, and you'll just see the occasional trans flag. So,
That sounds like a great house to me. Yeah, yarn everywhere. Hello,
my
I'm
wife
moving
loves
in.
it.
Yeah. So okay. So I sorry I forgot to mention this, but do you have anything at hand that you can show us that you have created recently?
Well, I have a bunch of hats for Hat Not Hate. So, um, just hats on hats.
Okay, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, that's my main priority these days. I'm also working on a unicorn amigurumi that's about that big. So just working on a little bit of everything, which is what I usually do.
I've never done amigurumi successfully, but maybe one day I will. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure you can do it. It's just
I'm sure it's
getting
one of those things that takes practice.
yeah, takes practice and just more patience than it's worth. To be honest,
I'm
some
not
people
known for
do.
my patience.
Yeah, same here.
So, how long have you been crafting?
So I've been crafting probably since I walked out of the womb. Um
You walked.
and
Wow, how advanced you were.
yes, I was ready to go. Um I have always been very crafty. I used to exclusively do beadwork, and that is a whole nother level of patience that I do not have anymore. Like bead weaving, and so I've been crafting since I was a little kid, and then learned how to knit when I was 12, and learned how to crochet, taught myself how to crochet um, about 2.5 years ago.
Mm, wow, you've accomplished a lot.
Seems like that.
And you've done a lot in terms of using your crafts for various kinds of social service purposes.
Yes. I so most recently I did a marathon for the Trevor Project. I spent the month of June working for the Trevor Project, trying to raise funds. My goal was $300, and we raised 700. So it was very successful. And if I do say so myself, and just to humbly brag about raising money for an amazing charity. And yeah, so I try to pay it forward as much as I can, because I think that that's important to do, you know,
Of
especially
course.
an organization as near and dear to my heart as the Trevor Project.
Oh, I hope it's important to everybody's heart because, I mean, just to be clear, in case anybody in our audience doesn't know what the Trevor Project is, can you like nutshell it for us?
Absolutely. So they are a helpline and hotline for LGBTQ plus youth. They they literally save people's lives, and helping 25 and under um, youth, with whatever resources they need. Um, and like I said, they do suicide hotline resources as well. So, I mean, it's just an amazing charity to get behind.
Excellent, excellent. And that was the day that you interviewed me, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that
It
was
gave me
that was a lot of
time.
fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yes, it was really fun. It was really fun.
So now I'm taking it out on you. Um, yeah, and you just mentioned that you're doing hats for Hat Not Hate,
Hmm.
which we all think is very important, an anti-bullying campaign. Any other projects you're working toward?
Not right now. I am kind of laser focused in on Hat Not Hate right now, and as I'm sure you understand fully, with the amount of blue hats that you've had to do. So I'm really glad that they pushed the deadline back. That allows us to get some more blue hats in, and hopefully help them reach their goal of 100,000 hats this year. So just really
Based on the
focusing
things that
on
I've seen on their Facebook live casts, I don't think they'll have any trouble reaching
that's
that.
amazing.
It is. It really is. And I think, um, honestly, I reached out to. There's a man who is in charge of the educational part, the program part of the Hat Not Hate um, campaign, and I need to reach out again and see if I can get him as an interview subject because I think that would be fascinating. So I did it.
Yeah, right next to me I have my blue hat that I'm working on right now. Um,
What yarn is that, and what's the colorway name?
so this is Karen 1 pound, believe it or not, and the color is robin's egg.
Okay, it's showing up a little bit as a pastel green on my screen,
That's
as opposed to a pastel blue. I
that's
imagine it's supposed to be pastel blue, correct?
yes, yes, it is blue.
Okay. So on my screen, I mean that just goes to show you everybody that what you see on your computer screen is not 100% accurate ever.
Hmm.
Remember that. I mean, I used to work in printing, so and one of my closest colleagues had a long history in graphics. So I learned a lot about that sort of thing.
Yeah. This is a
Um,
this is actually a very special pattern to me, because this is the pattern that I taught myself how to crochet on. And so it's a ribbed brim and just a treble crochet. It's nothing fancy. It's very quick to do, but yeah, this is exactly what I learned to crochet on, and redid it about 100 times to try to figure out why I kept dropping stitches and all those things that we still do. I would say we did at the beginning, but we still do
I
sometimes.
always say that the home renovation shows, they'll say measure twice, cut once. I say twice is not enough for counting.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I still mess it up sometimes.
Hmm.
But so, have you um, reached the point where you are creating your own designs and your own patterns?
I have not. It's something that uh, I addressed in a podcast that I did a while ago. That um, one of my uh, fatal flaws is my perfectionism, and um, I am so afraid of not having a perfect pattern that getting started, the anxiety of getting started, um, holds me up. So it's something that I'll have to work through, that I've been trying to work through, but yeah, so I haven't, just because I have this kind of, perfectionist tick that I can't get rid
Oh,
of yet.
I'll bet that when you feel more confident that you would make some really nice designs.
Thank you. And I think that, I definitely love seeing patterns for men. There's so many unisex patterns that work for men and women, but specifically for um, you know, flatter chest and narrower hips and things like that. Just, I'm excited to start creating patterns like that. Um, that's what I want to do.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I think that would be great. Um, I've done some patterns. I mean, speaking to the perfectionism thing, I have one in testing now that I hope to publish by the end of the month. Where at one point I stated outright, from this point on, the counts are not going to work out perfectly, and that's okay. The multiples are going to be off, and
Mhm.
that's okay. Just do the beginning and the end of the row the way I tell you to, and we'll be fine. And it seems to be working. I'm getting good results from the testers.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Um, I have posted it on Instagram already, but and you know me, I'm all about self promotion. So when it does go on Ravelry, you'll know
Yes, I can't.
about it.
That's good. But that's good. In this industry, I guess. You have to be your own best advocate, and if you're not, I think that um, it just makes everything 10 times harder.
Hmm. Hmm. And sometimes I get some grief for it, but you know what? I don't care.
You
I'm gonna be me. I mean, and actually that is something that I admire about you because you're gonna be you,
Yes,
no matter what people say.
yes.
Um, and I don't have the trans experience, but I have the fat gay boy experience. So, you know, I know about abuse, but I am I'm assuming that you know more about abuse than I do.
I would say that assumption is incorrect. I've actually received nothing but love and support for coming out as trans. I was part of the community before I came out as trans. I identified as a lesbian, and so when I made the move, I don't think there was this big jump in um, understanding. I think that luckily we've got more media presence and um, representation now that I think people are starting to understand a lot more. And I surround myself with my chosen family, and I chose them for a reason.
Mm.
Not that my family wasn't great with it as well, but I was really lucky, and I'm forever thankful for that. I I sometimes get scared about growing my channel quickly because I fear those people who are going to be less friendly coming in. Um, but
And
at
it
the end
does
of the day,
happen.
yeah, at the end of the day, if someone doesn't like or understand who I am, it's something that ultimately is their issue. Um, it doesn't have to be mine, and it's only mine if I make it that way. So,
It's been my observation, and I don't know if this is actually um, true on a like empirically proven, peer-reviewed journal level, but it's been my observation that women get a lot more abuse and trolls and really awful things in their YouTube channels than men do. Um, I would say I've been pretty fortunate. Have you experienced a lot of abuse in your channel in terms of comments, in terms of well, anything really?
no, I haven't. And that's again why I'm so why the growth of my channel has been perfect for me, because I've managed to kind of sneak by all of these trolls and just be my.
Mm, yeah.
And I think when you are unapologetically yourself, what is someone gonna tell me that I haven't, told myself and, made myself feel bad about. So, um, yeah,
I think most of us, especially those of us who grew up with like verbal abuse, we know that kind of feeling of, you know, you can't hurt me any worse than I can hurt myself, or I'll show you, I'll hurt me,
yeah,
or yeah, I mean, you can't tell me anything I haven't heard before.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah, I'm my own worst enemy, at most times. So, and that's, something to work on for sure. But, uh,
I think it's a lifelong challenge for all of us.
yeah, but I think that, you know, as self-identified, enemy number one, don't come for my role.
Do not usurp my role. You
Yeah.
do not take my job.
What else will I do to stay busy?
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't thought about it in
Yeah.
that and in those terms, but I like it. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But
I'm also
yeah,
um, I'm also a big advocate for mental health, and that's something that I love talking about. And I think that brings um, it brings the right people to the yard, if you will. If I am vulnerable and talking about these things, then it's very clear that if someone wants to be negative, that they're just being a bully. So there's no gray area. So I think that, um, if I'm saying I'm having a really bad mental health day and, feeling very dysphoric or something like that, and someone says, well, like, you know, you're bad for being trans, like, there's no gray area, just boot them and call it a day.
Yeah. Sometimes I let those things stay because I know there are people who are going to come to my defense.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about our community. The yarn community is incredibly supportive and loving of everyone.
Absolutely. And
And yeah,
yeah, we've sorry, we to interrupt. We've talked about other YouTubers who you would think wouldn't support us as people in the LGBTQ plus community, and then they are our biggest advocates, and you're totally surprised. And it's just, this community is really fantastic, and always pleasantly surprises me. Um, and I think that, also I look for teachable moments, and with people, if people are being negative, is it a teachable moment where, hey, maybe they are just misunderstanding or ignorant, um, to these issues, and maybe I can use this opportunity to educate. I love to educate. So I like to take those opportunities as well.
I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but sometimes I do the same thing. And I follow channels in outside of the art community. I like cars, so I follow automotive channels. I like cooking. I follow food channels. I like history, particularly British history, and there are several British history channels I follow. Usually, when I run across a comment, I will have one of two. I mean, a comment that I object to, I will have one of two responses if I actually do post a response. And I don't, because sometimes on my more mature days, I just let it go.
Mhm.
Um, I wish I had more of those mature days. Um, but, I have two standard responses, one of which was, what did you gain by making that statement? And the second is usually asking the person to explain whatever it is he has said that is usually preposterous or totally, totally offensive. And I say he because it's almost always it's a he.
Yeah,
Um, but
interesting.
yeah, yeah, there are so many things we could say about that. But yeah, I mean, you know, uh, I'll ask someone to define his terms. If he says, "Oh, that's offensive," I'll say why.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a gross simplification of a lot of the stuff. But you know, uh, and again, I wish I had more mature days when I just let it go. And I have been known to actually make those comments and then a day later go back and delete them because a day later I'm a little more mature or a little more distanced from my response.
Yeah. I think that those comments, so I'll throw some therapy terms at you, because
I know a lot about therapy, believe me.
um but there's this therapy type called dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, and it, one of the tenets is mindfulness, and it's that balance of emotional mind and reasonable mind, and because you can be too much in one and it's not good. So mindfulness is that, the intersection of the Venn diagram of um, those mentalities. And I think those comments have a way of just getting us straight to emotion mind. And, it takes some time to recalibrate and get into wise mind, or mindfulness, and see, like, okay, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit on this one. Maybe it wasn't totally called for a response. Maybe that person just needed a sounding board, and maybe they don't need a response to do it. So it appeals
And
to that emotion mind really well.
another response that I often have that when I am in a more mature mindset, I sometimes use. An example is long before I ever wrote about crochet or anything else, I was writing about music. And I wrote a review of a concert that was actually a pretty darn good concert, but I had a few qualms. Anyway, like a few weeks later, someone who I suspect was a member of one of those choirs happened upon my review, wrote quite a defense, and anyway went to great lengths to tell me that I was totally wrong and this, that, and the other. And my response to him was, "You seem to have strong feelings about this."
Beautiful.
And that might have been the first time I ever used that, but believe you me, it's been useful since then. Yeah. Um, but I think that you and I, it sounds like we've both been very fortunate in not having very many negative comments. Most of my comments are about technology. And yes, people, I know my audio sucks. No matter what I do to improve my audio, it's going to be a running joke.
My camera's been focusing in and out this whole time,
Mine?
and no, mine.
Oh, okay.
Uh, so that can be, I can be part of your running joke, is that, you know, between the two of us, we have one good camera.
That could be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be up in your area. Actually, I'm going to an event at Pfeiffer. I found a cheap motel in Kannapolis to stay. So, I need to meet up with you and Granny D and whoever else we can gather. What
Mhm.
shall we do?
Oh, uh, I'm on a yarn diet, so shop
Well,
for
I'm.
me is is what I want to say. But probably shouldn't say. Um, I don't know. I met Granny D before, and we ended up just sitting at a Starbucks and crocheting, and you know,
So
shooting.
then you could come up to like now. Granny D is near Kannapolis,
Mhm.
and so you could come up to Kannapolis or Concord and meet us. I'm thinking dinner and drinks and a lot of laughs.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and we could get other people as well. Anyone else who's in the area who wants to join us. I have a
Mhm.
lot of college friends in the area too, because my college is between Salisbury and Albemarle. Um, Hail Pfeiffer I'm singing the tenor part, not the melody. I'm sorry, but Hail Pfeiffer College, or Pfeiffer University as it's called now.
Yeah.
But
I was I was Side note, I was really excited cuz my whole life I have wanted to be a tenor. My whole singing career, and I don't sing much anymore, pretty much at all, because these pipes haven't been trained in a while. And I was like, do I inherently become a tenor? And the answer is no. But
actually, that is an interesting question because I, not so much anymore, but I have been part of vocal pedagogy forums and groups on YouTube where the question of how to teach trans students came up.
mhm,
So I think really it's still going to be whatever works best for you. I mean, you could be a trans countertenor, you know,
mhm,
and that's going to be okay if you wanted to do that. Um, or you know, it just depends upon where your voice ends up. I mean, didn't you mention recently that you were starting treatment that might affect your vocalism and other things?
yes. So, testosterone does affect your vocal cords. It firms up your vocal cords a little bit, which makes them deeper. So it's possible I will move into the tenor range. When I was singing, I was a low alto, not quite contralto.
It's
So
funny because in your speaking voice, I hear soprano.
yeah, no, never, never, ever, ever.
I rather think with training you might have found that, and um, testosterone treatment is not going to change the shape and size of your pharynx. It's while it might affect the texture of your vocal folds, it's not going to change. If I understand correctly, which is never 100% certain, it's not going to change the shape and size of your resonating cavity, which is your throat and your mouth. Um, so there is a possibility you could, if you wanted to, do the training, and you said that you had never really been classically trained. If you wanted to do the training, you could be a countertenor. And honestly, I knew. Oh, I'm sorry I missed. I lost touch with this guy. Very, very nice fellow. Another FTM trans guy who himself had been a voice major in school
Mhm.
as a medso, and then did the transition. And I would love to talk with him more about everything vocally, because because of my background, of course, everything vocal fascinates me. Um, and I could. I'm sort of sidetracking this and talking about singing and vocalism and everything, and I'm sorry about that.
Oh no,
But
no need to
how do we get onto this topic?
apologize. I don't know. Um, I think it was me. I think I sidetracked us and was and said that I had always wanted to be a tenor.
Oh,
Um,
I think yeah.
so we actually do physical therapy for vocal training
Yeah.
um, for trans folks, and it's an option that I have as I transition. So it's something that at first I wasn't that interested in, but because my voice is so naturally high, I think that we'll have to see where my voice settles, and then maybe I'll pursue that, and then I'll be finally be the tenor that I want to be. Yeah, I did. I was in chorus and all of that um, growing up, and sang for most of my school career. Um, I just didn't continue it once I got into high school um, for whatever
Hmm.
reason. I think we didn't have as developed of a program at the time, um, but
Now you live in Charlotte now, but that's not where you grew up. Is that correct?
correct. I am from the beautiful town of Fuquay Varina.
I know Fuquay-Varina. I've driven past it many times, certainly. I don't know the town itself, but I've driven past it. It's not that far from Pine Tops or Canida.
I don't know those towns.
Yeah, Canida is spelled Coneto, but yeah, because uh, you see signs for those towns along Highway 64.
Yeah. I get a lot of I get a lot of I used to get a lot of strange looks when people would look at my license and try to make out the town that I was from. Since, you know, living in Charlotte for 5 years or 6 years or however long it's been now. It's a Charlotte, so I don't get those funny looks anymore. But everyone at work knows where I'm from because Fuquay has a reputation.
I think the name itself is enough for reputation because it's such
Mhm.
an amusing name.
Yes.
But I mean, it's along that Raleigh, that corridor from Raleigh east along Highway 64 that is becoming more and more developed, right?
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
So yeah. Um, but
Yeah, it's beautiful. I
hmm?
think I told you I said it. Wilmington's beautiful. Um,
Wilmington is
um,
beautiful.
I think we talked about how my younger sister lives there and
Oh yes,
goes
I
to
do
school
recall you mentioning that. Yeah.
at UNCW, which I saw well represented with that hat that you got, Mr. Bod. Um,
And earlier today, I was wearing a UNCW T-shirt too. Yeah.
mhm,
I'm disappointed he's only worn that hat once, Mr. Bod.
yeah, I
But
think he realized that it wasn't UNC Chapel Hill.
well, nothing competes with Chapel Hill. Someone told me that after I sent that hat, she's I don't remember who it was, but someone felt a need to send an NC State hat to Mr. Bod now,
Was that
and I'm
Michelle?
going, no, I don't remember. I don't remember. Because if anyone states an allegiance to NC State, I just obliterate that because I'm willing to believe the best about people. Um, um, anyway, for people outside of the area, there are like 5 ACC schools in North Carolina. There's the University of North Carolina. There's UNC. There's Wake Forest. There's Duke. Um, and then there are, what else is there?
NC
There's
State.
South, yeah, NC State I mentioned. But it's funny. It's that rivalry about schools and things. And when I was in school, I had delusions of grandeur. So, which I'm sure surprises everyone. So I thought that Duke was the school for me because it was the grandest school of them all. Um, but then I wound up going to a teeny tiny church-related liberal arts college. And in North Carolina, you cannot swing a cat without hitting a teeny tiny church-related liberal arts college. Do you know how it is?
I know how it is, and I have a strong visual of you swinging a cat.
You know that saying comes from the cat of nine tails, not an actual literal cat.
I did not know that.
It does. It does, yeah.
I've never even heard the expression, but
You've
but I
never heard you can't swing a cat?
no.
Oh my gosh, where have you been? Oh, you poor young thing.
Thank you.
You're so naive.
I said the thank you is for the young.
So, outside of yarn,
hmm
what do you do for fun? If you want to share, what do you do for work?
So, I am let's see, what do I do for fun? Let's do that first. So, I really just I do a lot of different crafts for fun. Um, right now I've been having a lot of fun drawing and putting gold leaf on pictures. But when I want to get out, there's a couple places in Charlotte that I like to frequent. One of them being a cat cafe. I know that probably offends your sensibilities, um, but
I'm a grown up. I can take it.
uh, so that is really fun for me because I just love cats, and if I had my way, I would adopt them all. And
Like me and the dogs.
yes, exactly. I do have a dog, so taking the dog out and taking the dog for walks and trying to socialize the dog is um, what I do. I am an actuary, which no one knows what that is. Pretty much,
Strangely, I do. And
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those careers that if you don't love, then because you have to take exams and you have to take all of this credentialing, and if you don't love it, you're not going to make it far typically. Um, just in the exam process because you have to have passion there, otherwise it's just you're miserable. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm an actuary. I work in health insurance for a consulting company, and
I used to do printing in the health insurance industry.
very nice. So I'm not. I always say I'm not one of the bad guys. Um, I don't work for a carrier like your Blue Crosses or whatnot of the world. I work for a consultant and help. Um, my clients are businesses that want to provide benefits for their employees. So um, that's what I That's what I do when I'm not on short-term disability, which I have been for the past, couple months. So that's how I've had so much time for YouTube.
You. Um, um, that's cool. I'm trying to remember. Have you ever shown your dog in one of your lives?
I have shown him, but usually it's just the top of his head, um, or him lying down. So, yeah, he's half lab and half German Shepherd. So he is
Oh, all cuddles
all cuddles, and he was going to be my
and
service
all
dog.
play probably too. Yeah.
Yes, tons of energy, 2 years old. Um, and he was going to be my service dog, and is basically too friendly with other dogs to be my service dog. So
Hmm.
I won't be resentful of the money I spent on training because it's made him a great dog, but it would be nice if I had a service dog
Mm.
at the window. So, but he's a good boy.
I bet he is. I'd love to meet him
Yeah. Let me I'll let you meet him one day for sure.
one day. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, I actually would like to live in the Charlotte area again. Um, but then also, I would like to live in the mountains near Melanie, and I would like to live in Texas again, and I would like to live here, and I would like to live there, and
Mhm.
my life is full of fantasy.
Just hit it big, and then you can have a house everywhere you want.
Oh, yeah, that's
That's the
uh,
goal.
yeah, that's why I play the lotto. I don't do it every week, but I'm not I'm not addicted in that way because I have my own addictions. Thank you. But occasionally I hit the lotto. I call it my retirement plan. Hey, I won $4 this week.
Congratulations.
I spent 7, but I won 4.
Yeah, I was like, what's your net?
Yeah. One of these days, maybe. It's like, oh, I can't remember. I've lived in so many states. One of them had the slogan for the state lottery. You never know.
Yeah,
Never.
I like the ever present if you have a problem gambling, here's our helpline um that they play right afterwards because I it seems to be funded by the lottery.
Which, as well, it should be actually. Yeah, but and there are people who have problems with gambling, and I've heard horrible
Yeah.
stories. And I think that I came from a limited background, even though at the time I didn't think it was limited, but it was because I made a lot of assumptions coming into adulthood that were not correct.
Didn't we all?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So are you a Cuban sandwich snob now?
Um, I have not had a Cuban sandwich that I've really liked outside of Florida. I will say that.
Okay. I there's a place here that's very good. So maybe I'll have to bring you a sandwich. And they have real Cuban bread.
I think the real Cuban bread is the important part.
Hmm.
Most of the time, my objection has been about the bread. Because anyone can slap some, ham and cheese and pickles and stuff on a sandwich. but it's the bread that's important. And then you have to press it together with the panini press, and the bread is the important part.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a really good Cuban sandwich.
I work with a woman who's Cuban, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring you guys some Cuban coffee one day," and I I asked her, what Cuban coffee was, and she explained it to me, and I was like, I might actually die if I drink this. I think my heart might explode.
It's very, very strong. And that's why it's in these teeny tiny cups, these little
Mhm.
plastic cups. And I used to, leave the store where I worked, and you would see these cups, these tiny used plastic cups, all over the parking lot because, of course, nobody used litter barrels. They would just drop them wherever they were.
Mhm.
They still do that. People suck. But
But puppies are
uh,
great.
puppies are great. We love puppies. Do you know, one time I think I was working until midnight in that same store, and I was closing up, and I was about to lock the door, and I opened it up just to see what was going on outside. There was a tiny kitten right outside the door.
Aww.
And I wound up bringing that kitten home. And I gave that kitten, no, I don't know, a tiny bit of milk. And I don't even know if I had anything that I would have fed him or her. And then the next, I wish, I've always felt bad about this. The next day, I took the kitten to the um, animal shelter, and I said, I found this kitten outside of my workplace. Doesn't seem to have a home or an owner, and I can't keep him. And I knew what his fate would very likely be. And I felt so bad about that. So I'm not anti-cat. I'm pro-puppy. And, he was so cute. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well, kittens do get adopted very quickly. Um,
I hope this one did. I don't know. He might have had some kind of problems. I think his little tummy was loaded or something. I don't know whether he was eliminating correctly or
oh,
efficiently or something. I don't know. But yeah, I had to take him to the shelter because we couldn't keep him. I'm calling him him. Um, I don't I don't recall whether it was a boy or a girl kitten. But
I think it's hard to tell with cats because
oh, thank
cat
God I'm not the only one who thinks that.
y- uh, s- cats anatomy retract. This is a really strange point in the conversation where we.
Well, that's what I said. We start with the yarn stuff, and then we go wherever the spirit leads us.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
And it seems like now the spirit has led us to kitten anatomy.
Yes. Yeah. Um, but uh, yeah. So,
Okay. Well, actually, we've been doing this for over an hour, and so we should
mhm.
probably draw it to a close. Is there anything you would like to make known to my viewers? I think we have mostly the same viewers anyway, but anything you would like to share? I mean, I will post any link that you provide me in the description, and also if you send me some pictures, I will add them when I edit this video. But
Okay.
anything else you would like to add?
Um, So I am currently having a 1K giveaway, hoping it'll get me to 1,000 subscribers. So I am giving away a 10-pack of Clover Hook unopened um, from
Are those
Amazon.
genuine clover or the fake clover that has been going
They
around?
they are genuine.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they are the real deal. And I haven't
Very
finished opening
nice.
them. Yes, I got a pack myself, and they were on sale on Amazon, so I couldn't resist. So I will send you that link, and all people have to do is comment on that video, and
Is there a deadline for that, for the end of that contest?
just once I hit 1K.
Okay.
So the other thing that I'd like to say is, we always have a lot of fun on my live streams, and
It's
uh,
true.
I like to say that yes, I do it all, but I don't do it all well. So it's a learning process that
That's me too.
that we go through together, and I am just really thankful. Thank you so much, David, for this interview.
Oh, of
It's really
course.
fun.
Of course. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me up here. And thank you to everyone who has been watching this long. I always mean to say this at the beginning and I forget, but thank you to all of my subscribers and all of my Patreon members and everybody else who has supported me. And like, subscribe, comment, share, all of the standard YouTube crap. And keep coming back. And I'm going to